What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Ravens Rundown. Hope you guys enjoyed the Memorial Day yesterday, but we are back and ready to go. We got a full live show for you guys. 3 awesome segments to look forward to. Coming up first, we're going to talk about the perfect free agent that's still available for the Baltimore Ravens. Then we're going to back that up by talking about a possible trade for Jalen Ramsey. And then we're going to wrap this thing up the way we always do with our live Ravens mailbag. Your questions, my answers, everybody's favorite time of the week. That's coming up very, very shortly. But I want to hear from you guys, though, right now. Before you ask me questions, I got to ask you a question. Who are you most excited to see at OTAs? They started today. Now, we didn't get to see much. We didn't get to hear much because it wasn't an open practice. So no beat reporters were there. Nobody was there covering it. It was just the Ravens and their own media staff. However, tomorrow will be open. We'll be able to see some clips, see some highlights on Twitter. Make sure to follow me. I'll get those on my Twitter tomorrow. But regardless, practice started today, the first of 4 OTA sessions. And then, of course, mandatory minicamp is coming up in June. Who are you guys most excited to see? Let me know in the comment section down below. We already got some awesome members of the flock rocking with us. Espresso VR, Adam78, Jameer Castro, Moggs says, up in this bitch. What is up, everybody? So good to see you. So good to hear from you guys. Need y'all to be honest with me in the comment section. I got 2 big names. 2 major players, I guess not major players, actually. They'd be the opposite of major players. 2 players I'm really looking forward to seeing over these next couple of days. Number 1 is Mr. Teddy Buchanan, 4th-round selection linebacker out of Cal. Really excited to see how he's performing, see if he'll be able to compete for a starting spot. And then I'm really excited to see Bo Braid, to see if he's got what a lot of people are wondering, if he's got it. I'm excited to see if he's going to be the guy that's going to step up and replace Ardarius Washington through this injury. Because so far, they haven't added anybody in free agency. So far, they haven't really even showed interest in adding anybody in free agency. And maybe that's because they've got all the faith in the world in Bo Braid. Really excited to see how he does very, very soon. Dick is saying, Ravens ain't trading for anyone. You might be right, but you might be wrong. Espresso VR saying, hi, Joey. What's up, Espresso? So glad you are back and hanging out with all of us. Hashtag Ravens, what position should the Ravens add to the most? And who? From Jameer. Jameer, great question. If you want to get on the show, just like Jameer's going to be on the show, make sure you guys use hashtag Ravens just like he did. Ask me any questions you got in the comment section down below. They can be about OTAs. They can be about training camp. They can be about the offseason, trades, free agency, the draft, the season, the schedule, anything you want, I got for you right here on the Ravens Rundown. Your questions, my answers, my opinions. Follow suit for Jameer. He did it just there. Gave you a perfect look of what it needs to look like. Hashtag Ravens. Then get that question in there, and I'll do my best to answer it in segment number 3. Jack's going to choose the best ones, and then we'll get on with it. I need you guys to do it right now. I talked Bo Braid, and we're going to talk the safety position in our first segment. I need you guys to name a safety the Ravens should sign in free agency. There's a couple of good options still out there. I think a couple of guys that would fit in and kind of blend seamlessly in this Ravens defense. I need to hear from you guys who those names are, okay? There's a Julian Blackmon. There's a Justin Simmons. There is, let's see who else is still available. Free agent safeties still available. Trevon Moehrig is still available. Let's go to the safety position. Let's see. Defensive line. Don't need that. Linebacker. Safety. Here we are. Justin Simmons, Julian Blackmon, Jordan Whitehead, Marcus Williams, no thank you. Jordan Poyer, Von Bell, Chuck Clark, Jalen Mills, Quandre Diggs, I think could be an interesting one as well. But y'all let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and like today's stream, like today's video. And if you guys are excited about the Ravens being back and they're playing football, they are at Owings Mills right now as we speak. They're not wearing pads, but they're in the jerseys. They're wearing the purple and black, and they're tossing the pigskin around. If you are excited that they're back and they're playing football and that we'll get to see it tomorrow on social media, go ahead and do me one big favor. Hit that thumbs up button. We need to at least get to 20 likes, and once we do that, we will be able to start our stream, but we can't do it until we get there. Darius Williams, hashtag Ravens, do you think we need more wide receiver depth? Darius, that's a great question. Honestly, no. I don't think we need more wide receiver depth. Like, there's a difference between wants and needs. And I'm not talking Drake, if you hear what I'm saying. I would want some more wide receiver depth, but I don't think it's something that this team needs. I think they need depth in other spots way stronger than they need depth in the wide receiver position. Like, I think about the linebacker room. I think about the interior of the defensive line. I think about the safety room now with our Darius Washington. Would like a little bit stronger depth maybe in the offensive line room. And so it's like they got bigger fish to fry, in my opinion, than wide receivers. Mickey says Justin Simmons would be the best deal. Ramsey would cost too much in salary and trade. And then Jameer saying Ravens should get a corner so Kyle Hamilton can play safety next to Malachi Starks. Well, the way they're currently constructed, Kyle Hamilton's going to be playing safety next to Malachi Starks. That's how it's going to be. LeBrell says, we don't need Jalen. Let those young guys eat. See, I get we're saying that now, but we could be 2 games through the season, and we're saying, damn, wish we wouldn't have let those young guys eat, if you know what I'm saying. Jacko says, in regards to the poll, whichever's cheaper, team has no cap space. Right now, that poll, I asked, which would you rather? Trade for Jalen Ramsey is at 52%. Sign Justin Simmons is at 35%, And 12% of you, around 24, are just saying none of the above. I don't care. Neither. Dick Togo says, Ravens reached signing Hopkins early. I don't think anything is a reach if you sign someone for $5 million. Do you agree, Jack? Like, if they would have, he said they reached by signing DeAndre Hopkins early. And I'm saying if it's a 1-year, $5 million deal, that is not a reach. Now, I would agree with you if it was like a 10, 12, $15 million deal, but $5 million, like, that's the furthest thing from a reach, in my opinion. Mog says, hashtag Ravens, what would be better for our defense? Sign a safety, let Hamilton roam, or sign a cornerback to lock things up down underneath and keep Ham up top? Moggs, that might be the best question I've ever heard in this show, on this planet, in the history of this channel. Fantastic. That will 100% be in the mailbag. And if Jack doesn't put that in the mailbag, I will kill him personally. Just kidding. I got to put that out there.
I'd like to see you. Oh, you can't hear me.
There we go.
I'd like to see you try.
Great question. I would say, I think I'd rather them sign a safety and have Hamilton roam. But I wouldn't be mad about either. Like, if they sign a safety, not a corner, I'd be excited about it. If they sign a corner and not a safety, I'd be excited about it as well. William says, nah, go get Ramsey, let him play corner, and let Marlowe play safety if they want. See, if they got Ramsey, Marlon would just go back and be a nickel. Like, he would just be that slot corner role that he played all of last season, was actually really, really good at. Moggs with some crying, laughing faces. All right, I need 5 more likes, 5 more, and then we will get going with our first segment of today's show. 5 thumbs up buttons. I need 5 diehard Ravens fans to prove to me that you're a diehard Ravens fan. Because if you're excited the Ravens are back and they're playing football, I need you to do one thing for me. Hit that thumbs up button. It's free. It helps us out. It sends to the YouTube algorithm. You know what? People are liking this. Let's get more Ravens fans in this thing. So I need you guys to do me one big favor. I guess 4 big favors. 4 likes. That's all we need right now. We're at 16, just 4 more. Adam78, hashtag Ravens, if Baltimore can't afford to extend Hamilton, Linderbaum, or Likely, then they aren't trading for a Ramsey 3-year, $50 million contract. The thing is they can afford to do those things. But that might be the reason they don't do it, is because they want to do those things, if you get what I'm saying. Mickey says, the best way to work a Ramsey deal would be to trade someone like Owe. Are we prepared for that? I would be. I don't know. That's tough. That's tough because you just drafted Mike Green. They're not going to sign Owe, I think, next year. I don't think so. And so it's like, is Owe a free agent next year? It's either next year or the year after that. I think he's a free agent next year. Yep, 21 through 2025. Okay, yeah. So I don't think they're going to re-sign Elway. I don't. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they used him as a trade piece. There's a lot of teams looking for an edge. Alrighty, we got to 25 likes. Shout out to all of you guys. Here's the lineup. Here's what we got going on today's live show. Perfect free agent target. Then the Ravens trading for Ramsey. That's coming up second. And then last is our live Ravens mailbag. The best time of the week, every single week. Make sure you guys are rocking with us, staying with us. We got about an hour, I guess 50 minutes of great content coming your way. Jack, we ready to roll? Perfect. It all starts right now. Welcome into the Ravens Rundown, everybody. I am your host, Joey Petersen. We're talking free agency on today's show, and I got one target that might just be the perfect fit. He might be a guy that could work seamlessly right into this Baltimore Ravens defense and be a massive addition in the 2025 season. Stick around. I'll reveal who that is and break down his strengths. But before that, make sure you guys are liking today's video because the Steelers put out a video. They got 415 likes on it. I always want to be better than the Steelers. Every single day I wake up and that's the first thing in my mind. Let me brush my teeth better than Mike Tomlin did this morning. Hope you guys feel the same way. And if you do me one big favor and like today's video. So we got to start by just being honest. Okay, we got to look at the man in the mirror, be truthful with ourselves, and realize that help at safety would be absolutely massive. And this isn't anything that we were saying 3 weeks ago, right? I think we all were really, really excited about this, where this team was after the draft, after adding in Malachi Starks. But Ardarius Washington tore his Achilles 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, today exactly. And it's kind of thrown a massive wrench into everything. And I'm not saying that like, why do you have to go do that? Obviously, I feel for him. My heart goes out to him. It's so tough what happened to Ardarius. But you also got to realize that before his injury, this is kind of how the defensive backroom was shaping up. In the free safety spot, you had Malachi Stark. Strong safety, you had Ardarius. In that nickel back flex role, you had Kyle Hamilton. And then Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins kind of rounded out the two outside corner spots. But now after the Ardarius Washington injury, there's some shifting that goes around, that went around in that defensive back room. Kyle Hamilton now is playing that free safety spot just like he did last year. That strong safety spot that Ardarius had last year now goes to Malachi Starks. Marlon Humphrey goes back in the slot. Nate Wiggins becomes your cornerback one. And Chidobe Awuzie is one of your starting corners as well. So like my take for this whole thing is Baltimore's defense can operate like that, right? They could operate with Kyle Hamilton, Malachi Starks, Marlon Humphrey, Chidobe Awuzie, and Nate Wiggins. But that should not be the standard of this franchise. That should not be the standard of a team that's competing for Super Bowls. It shouldn't just be, could we operate like this? It should be what gets us to the point where we feel confident in competing and hoisting a Lombardi trophy. Especially with the state of this offense, with how many weapons they have. With, knowing that you can rely on them night in and night out to put 30 on the board. The defense's goal shouldn't just be, okay, let's operate like this. This should be good. The goal should be, let's get as many good players as we can in here because this is our window now. Speaking of now, I need you guys to do something for me right now. Get down to the comment section and name a safety the Ravens should sign in free agency. There's still a lot of really good options left. I'm curious to see who you got. So coming up, I'm going to reveal that perfect free agent that we talked about right off the top. So make sure you guys don't go anywhere. And if you do go anywhere, make sure it's to chatsports.com/white polo, where you can get this Ravens white polo, the old school logo, super cool. It was $50. Now it is $34. 32% off right? I know Father's Day is just around the corner. I know we got a lot of birthdays coming up. And that's what's great about these shirts, right? You can wear them on the golf course, in the bay. You can wear them to the office. You can wear them, like you can do anything with this. And it looks awesome. So support the best. Feel the best. Support us right here on the show. Support our friends at Fanatics. Support the Baltimore Ravens. Hit all three of your favorite things by grabbing this right now. Chatsports.com/white polo. Again, just $34. Phenomenal deal. That link is going to be in the comments and description of today's video. So Justin Simmons is that free agent that we are talking about today because it seems that everything combined with the cost, the role, and the need, it might make him the perfect free agent option. And I'm not the only one who says that. Baltimore Ravens Sports Illustrated agrees. This is from Frank Placco. Simmons is the most prominent big-name safety still unsigned. The former All-Pro was released by the Atlanta Falcons after just one season with the team. He's going on 32 years old, and while his prime years may be in the rear view, he's still a starter-level player with a well-rounded skill set. He'd be a seamless fit in Baltimore, but might have too high of a price tag for the Ravens to sign him. And that's kind of where I disagree with Frank. I feel like because at this point of the year, we're in, May? And I know he didn't sign until late last year, but he's 32. He didn't have a great season. I don't think the cost would be too much. And some of the pros of him, number one, straight up, is he's a true free safety. The two starting safeties you've got right now on your roster, in Malachi Starks and in Kyle Hamilton, they're both two-way safeties. They're both guys who can play free safety and strong safety. And that's a phenomenal problem to have, okay? Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining about that. But if you bring in Justin Simmons, you've got a guy who's a no-doubter, no-brainer free safety because that's all he's really known in the National Football League. In his 9-year career, he's had over 4,500 snaps at the free safety position. And if you look back to just last year, 86% of his snaps were at free safety in 2024. All right, this is a guy who is true to that position. He knows it better than anybody else almost in football. And if you combine him in here and team him up in the defensive backfield with Malachi Starks and Kyle Hamilton and Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey, that just sounds like it could be something very special. Let me know in the comment section down below, should the Ravens sign Justin Simmons? If you think they should, give me a yes. And if you say, I'm going to pass on it, go ahead and give me a no. Another thing I love about Justin Simmons is he is a freaking ball hawk, man. I mean, this dude can get the football. He has 32 career interceptions in his 9 seasons playing. That is a ton. And why that may have dropped off a little bit last year, I think a big part of that is because Atlanta's edge rushers and just their pass rushing attack in general was atrocious. Every quarterback that Atlanta played in 2024 had 175 minutes to throw every single football. Every single one. And then look at the 3 years prior. 14 picks in the 3 years combined, his last 3 seasons in Denver. And we all know how big of a deal this has been for Baltimore, especially in the postseason. It just seems that for whatever reason, when this team goes into the postseason, they forget everything about turning the football over. Because they had 3 turnovers in 2024, 3 turnovers in 2023. And guess how many times they turned the ball over? That's right, 0. 6-0 ratio in their last 2 playoff losses. Justin Simmons comes in here and he changes that, okay? I promise you. The last pro of Mr. Justin Simmons is back to the Kyle Hamilton aspect of this all, okay? I think that is the biggest pro of him, and adding him is it allows Hamilton to be versatile. And this is exactly when this defense is at its best. For a second-year defensive coordinator in Zach Orr, I think this is in his best interest as well to give one of your star players that kind of position of, you're going to be in the box sometime. You might be in the slot. You might be in the free safety. You might be in the strong safety. You might be on the outside corner. You might be up on the defensive line. Like, nobody knows where he will be. And with the Ardarius Washington injury, he's pretty much just slotted in that free safety spot as of right now. But you add Justin Simmons, Kyle Hamilton goes back to being that versatile Swiss Army knife. Kyle Hamilton goes back to being anywhere on the football field because he can, because he's that good. You can put him absolutely anywhere. Okay, adding in Justin Simmons changes a lot about this team. It changes a lot about this roster, and it changes a lot about this team's ability to compete late in the postseason. Justin Simmons isn't a necessity. I'm not sitting here pounding the table, pleading to everybody saying if they don't get this done, this season's screwed in 2025. I'm not saying that. Don't hear that from me. But he'd be awfully nice to have, okay? He'd give Hamilton a little bit more versatility. He'd give Zach Orr another weapon in the defensive backfield. He'd allow that cornerback room to kind of go back to Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins being on that outside instead of Chidobe Awuzie playing starter minutes, playing 700 snaps if he stays healthy. I don't think that's the best thing for this team. We're about to get on out of here, but make sure you guys follow me before we do. Those links are going to be in the comments and description of today's video. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Joey Petersen 8. We're going to have a lot of OTA content on there tomorrow, so make sure to lock us in while you can. And lock us in right here on the channel because, again, OTAs are starting up. We'll be recapping all of those news items for you guys as quickly as we get them. So never miss a moment. Make sure to join us today and subscribe. All righty, you guys let me know down below. Should the Ravens sign Justin Simmons? Give me a yes or give me a no. Tommy and the Buckeyes in here. What is up, Ty Man? William says yes. Kimberly says yes. Mickey says, I actually think Zach Orr should take some box line snaps away from Hamilton, give them to Trenton Simpson, sort of a big nickel formation. Mickey, I wouldn't think that's a bad idea, but Trenton Simpson isn't that good in coverage. Like, if you look last year at his coverage grade, let me bring up his PFF stats. I get it, PFF isn't gospel, but he had a coverage grade of 55.3. That was 114th of 189 linebackers. Now, something that would be interesting to do that with, somebody I should say, is Teddy Buchanan, okay? I know I've talked a lot of Teddy Buchanan over the last couple of weeks, but, like, he was really impressive last year with Cal. He had a really good coverage grade as well. I'm trying to find it right now. He had 20 coverage stops, tied for 11th most in the National Football League. His completion percentage was 56.3, tied for 21st. Like, he's a really, really good coverage linebacker. His coverage grade was 76.2 in the upper percentiles of all of college football. So I don't mind having a big nickel formation. I just don't think Trenton Simpson is necessarily the person to do it with, Mickey. Fabio says yes. Lav says no, get Ramsey. Bryn says no. Lav says we already got Starks at strong safety. Jameer says either sign Justin Simmons or Von Miller. Lav says, how was day one of Ravens OTAs? Well, Lav, unfortunately, there was no media coverage. So everything we were going to get today was going to be from like the team official site, like the team official social media. So unfortunately, like we don't really know much about it other than like the fans being there. We saw, DeAndre Hopkins in Ravens purple and black. That was pretty cool. So far, I haven't heard anything bad, though. I just haven't heard much at all. But yeah, so, not much today. He says, though. But I will say this, the media will be there tomorrow, okay? Media will be there tomorrow in the building. So they'll get highlights out. I'll get highlights out to you. I'm actually going to put the link to my Twitter right now in the chat. Make sure you guys follow me right here, okay? Because I'll be tweeting out stuff as I get it tomorrow. I'm at 888 followers. Let's see if we can get that to go up. Maybe even get to 900 today. But make sure you guys are following me right there for all the latest and greatest on your Baltimore Ravens. Say it again. 888 stop the count. Bills look scary. Saw their video at OTAs. Bills, schmills. I ain't worried about them. Josh Allen, garbage quarterback. You'll let me know down below. Brandon says no. Bryn says no. Fabio says yes. If you look at the poll, 37% of you guys said sign Justin Simmons. on the which would you rather for Jalen Ramsey, Justin Simmons. 10% said none of the above. That's around 7 or 8 of you guys. Y'all let me know those in the comment section down below. Keep getting those likes in on the video, okay? Keep hitting that thumbs up button. I think we're about to get in our next segment. Jack, go ahead and throw up that hashtag Ravens, and we can see if we can get a couple more questions. Make sure you guys are getting those questions in using hashtag Ravens. Okay, hashtag Ravens, anything you want, I will answer for you guys. And if you guys want to guarantee a spot, okay, we don't like to use the G word here a lot on the show, but if you want to guarantee your spot in today's mailbag, guarantee your spot on today's show, you can super chat. $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $20, $100. Does not matter, right? It does not need to be a big one, does not need to be a small one. Just make sure that you guys get on the mailbag 100% if you guys super chat. We'll get those questions in there. Really, really, really looking forward to hearing from you guys. This is always the best part of the week. All righty. Jack, are we ready to roll into our third or second segment of the day? Aiden just tagged me as short. I always get tagged right in the middle of live. Yeah, I will. Let me send it. Alrighty. We are going to get going on today's show. Next up, talking to Jalen Ramsey trade. Y'all stick with us. Jack, we ready to do it? Sweet. This one is coming up for you guys right now. Coming up on today's show, CBS Sports named the Baltimore Ravens as one of the teams that is a best fit for cornerback Jalen Ramsey. So could Eric DeCosta be licking his chops, rubbing those hands together, and making something happen behind the scenes? We'll break it all down on today's show. Before that, it is our June AFC North sub battle. Okay, May is over. We're on to the 6th month of the year. We're starting with a clean, fresh slate. To get the Ravens to an early lead, make sure you guys do me one big favor. Hit that sub button so we can prove we run the AFC North. Here are the best fits on today's episode. The Arizona Cardinals, Los Angeles Rams, Philadelphia Eagles, Cincinnati Bengals, and right there at the end, your Baltimore Ravens. Hear more from Brad Crawford on the fit. He says, like Cincinnati's dilemma with improvements needed, the Ravens ranked 31st in the NFL in passing yards allowed and have added several players since falling short in their bid to reach the Super Bowl. After signing Awuzie in free agency, Baltimore drafted Bilal Kone and Robert Longerbeam in the 6th round for more looks at corner. The Ravens also have a bit of history signing veterans in key spots with varying levels of impact. Odell Beckham Jr. played just one season in 2023, but the addition of Derrick Henry last spring has worked out beautifully after the ball carrier spent the first 8 years of his NFL career in Tennessee. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, a trade for Jalen Ramsey definitely feels a little bit bigger than what Baltimore usually does, okay? We are very used to seeing this team kind of sit on their hands in free agency. Kind of sit on their hands for most of the offseason. They let the draft board come to them. They draft really good players, and they say, okay, let's just run it back with who we've got. But regardless of that, if they do decide to make a move for Jalen Ramsey, if Eric DeCosta and John Harbaugh, if those two guys feel that this is the missing piece for this defense, this is the missing piece to get this team to a Super Bowl, it would be an incredibly exciting move and one I would 100% be there for. So on today's show, we're going to go over two things, okay? I'm going to tell you why a Ramsey trade works. We're going to start with the positives. And then on the back half of the show, I'm going to tell you why a Ramsey trade doesn't. Before that, I want to hear from you guys, okay? Should the Ravens trade for Ramsey? Tell me straight up by giving me a yes or a no in the comments section. If you want it to happen, let me know yes. And if you don't want it to happen, let me know why not. All right, let's start with why it works. Number one, the current state of the cornerback room. And this room isn't terrible, but I'm not really excited about having to lean on Chidobe Awuzie to take like 700, 800 snaps this season. I just don't think that's the best thing for this team. We suffered through Brandon Stevens last year, and I think that at best, that's what Chidobe Awuzie is this year, if he's even healthy and if he's even playing. Now, if TJ Tampa steps up, makes a massive improvement, and gets that starting role is awesome, sure, I'll eat my words, but right now, that's still how I feel. And Ardarius Washington threw a massive wrench into this thing when he got injured, right? Because this was the defensive back room before the injury, and then here's the defensive back room after the injury, and there's a ton of shifting around, and Chidobe Awuzie had to go into one of those starting outside corner roles, which before the injury, it was kind of up to Nate Wiggins, and it was kind of up to Marlon Humphrey to be those outside guys because Kyle Hamilton could go anywhere. And not only is Chidobe Awuzie in a starting outside corner role, but Nate Wiggins is your cornerback one. And I want to be clear here. I'm really excited about Nate Wiggins in 2025. I think Nate Wiggins is going to be wonderful. I think he's going to take a massive step up, and he's going to be a really, really good player. But also, he took 680 snaps last year. That's going to bump up to almost 1,000 in 2025. Is he ready to make that big of a bump and also cover each team's best wide receiver? I don't know. Those are big questions to be asking for a team that thinks they can compete for a Super Bowl, for a team that wants to compete for a Super Bowl, for a team that can compete for a Super Bowl. And if you add Ramsey into this group, into this bunch, I think it makes this room elite. And I'm not just saying the cornerback role in general. I'm saying the entire bit of that defensive back room. With Malachi Starks, Kyle Hamilton, you add Jalen Ramsey, and you have Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey. That room is absolutely ridiculous. That room is one of the best in football. Now it's all up to Eric DeCosta to see if he wants to make that move. All right, let's keep going with why it works. We got to stay in the cornerback room. And also, I just feel like, I mentioned it a little bit ago, Jalen Ramsey could be that missing piece, that last piece that this team needs going into 2025. Because last year, let's call a spade, this pass defense wasn't very good. They ranked 31st in pass yards per game. They ranked 30th in plays led up of 20 or more yards, 50 freaking 8 of them. And also, we all know the playoff turnover problems. And in those last 2 playoff games, the AFC Championship loss against Kansas City at home and the divisional playoff loss last year against Buffalo on the road, you got out turnover 6-0. Now, I'm not saying Jalen Ramsey comes in here and gets 7 interceptions. I'm not saying that. But someone needs to step up in the postseason. And why not Jalen Ramsey? Okay? And why not somebody else because of the addition of Jalen Ramsey, if you get what I'm saying? Like him being added to this lineup, you don't just add him and his greatness, but everybody else kind of improves off of him. Coming up, unfortunately, we're going to talk about why a Ramsey trade doesn't work, because it's not all just, rainbows and butterflies right here on the channel. We try to keep it that as much as we can, but we also got to shoot you guys straight. That's another reason why you guys got to subscribe, okay? For nonstop, honest, unbiased coverage all through the offseason, make sure you guys are subscribed today. It's easy to make videos in September. It's easy to make videos in October. It's not easy to do it in May and June and July, and that's when we do still daily videos right here on the channel. Join us right now by hitting that big red sub button. Okay, let's talk money, because this is the biggest reason why it doesn't work, and it starts with Jalen Ramsey's contract. It is a big one, ladies and gentlemen, and if it weren't so big, they probably wouldn't even want to move off from him. But if the Dolphins were to trade Ramsey, a team acquiring him would be responsible for the guaranteed salary of $21.1 million in 2025. That's a big chunk of change. And then you get all the years after it, and here's his cap hits for 2026, 2027, and 2028, and they're sitting at 25, 26, and $36 million. Whew. I'm going to let you guys take that in. That's a lot. That's a lot for a player his age. Maybe it was worth it a couple of years ago when he was a little bit younger. You got to ask the question, is it worth it now? And I don't know if it is, okay? I want you guys to make the call for me right down below. What do you think the Ravens will do? Not what you want them to do, what you think they will do. If you think they're going to trade for Ramsey, go ahead and type T. If you think they're going to pass on him, go ahead and give me a P. The final reason why it doesn't work has to do with the money aspect as well, and this is just Baltimore's cap space. They just don't have a ton. They have $18.33 million in cap space, 22nd best. Now, I will mention this. It isn't a terrible spot for them. They've been consistently hovering around like the 25s, 26 region. Not in millions that they have, but in ranking in the National Football League. They've been hanging around $12 million pretty much for the entirety of the offseason. So an $18 million cap space, a little $6 million bump isn't bad, but still, right? You got to think of who they still want to pay other than Jalen Ramsey. And I'm not talking next year yet. I'm still talking this offseason. Because there's 3 people I could still see getting extended any day of the week. And at the current recording of this video, they haven't yet. It's Lamar Jackson. He's about to get a bag. Tyler Linderbaum. He's about to get a bag. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option. And Kyle Hamilton, even though they did, that's an extension I kind of expect to happen possibly in the 2025 season, like in the middle of it, okay? So those are 3 really important players. Your quarterback, 1, the cornerstone of your offensive line, and the cornerstone of your defense. The best safety in football. Those are guys you want to keep around. Those are guys you want to pay. And then you got to look forward because you can't just be a GM and think about the now. You got to think about the future. And in 2026, you got some big free agents. Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, Kyle Van Noy, or Darius Washington, Travis Jones, Odafe Oweh. You got a lot of people that you might want to pay. Now, they're going to pay one of those 2 tight ends. I don't know who it's going to be. My money bets on Likely. Most likely. Kyle Van Noy, you got the age questions. I don't know if he's going to get signed. Or Darius Washington's going to be big based on what he does coming out of his Achilles. I imagine Travis Jones gets re-signed. There's still a lot of question marks with a lot of these guys, but still, those are guys who are proven to be players on this team. They got to pay some of them. Short and all, or all in all, I should say, in short, I'd be shocked if Baltimore trades for Ramsey. We just know that this team operates differently than a lot of teams in the postseason. They're not like the Eagles. They don't go out and they don't make big, flashy moves. They're not super duper active. It almost broke the internet last year when you added Derrick Henry in free agency, okay? That's just not who this team is. And trading Jalen Ramsey comes with a lot of risks because of the money attached to him. But I will admit, if it does happen, fire me up. I'd be excited about it. You will not hear any complaints from me. Because you got to realize, if they sign Jalen Ramsey, that's basically them telling everybody in this fan base, everybody on that team, this is the year, okay? This is the year that this team is going to compete for a Super Bowl, and Jalen Ramsey might be that final piece. Make sure you guys are following me on socials at Joey Petersen 8 on Instagram, at Joey Petersen 8 on Twitter. And as always, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. If you haven't done it yet, frankly, what are you doing? We got over 31,000 members of the flock rocking with us right here on the Ravens Rundown. We bring you daily content all throughout the offseason right here on the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. So join us today by subscribing. All righty, make the call. What do you think is going to happen? Do they trade for Ramsey or do they pass on Ramsey? If you think trade, give me a T. If you think pass, go ahead and give me a P. Kimberly's saying P. Jennifer's saying P. Brandon is saying P as well. We had a lot of discourse in the comment section. What needs does Miami have that matches our depth? So we feel okay about trading a player. Do you think EDC would trade a future day 2 pick? What's the going rate for Ramsey? I think you can get Ramsey for like a 4th or a 5th. Purple Pill says, honestly, the Ravens are ready as is. Humphrey's a slot cornerback, so Nate is CB1. Nate needs some more snaps. I want to know, is the Dominican Sue, I still want to play football. I don't get what that means. Lav says trade. Tim says trade. Jennifer says trade. Juan says do you. If I had to guess what they'll do, I would guess pass. Jameer says pass. All that being said, I'd be super psyched to have Jalen Ramsey as a Raven. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I kind of brought it all back to at the end. Like, I don't think it's going to happen. If I had to put my money on it, I would put $1 million on the fact that the Ravens don't trade for Jalen Ramsey. But if they did do it, I would be pumped, man. I'd be so excited to be Eric DeCosta telling everybody this is the year that this team is going to compete for a Super Bowl. And Jalen Ramsey could help them do it. When will they announce that Jalen Ramsey to another team? Whenever he gets traded, Juan, and that'll be after June 1st. He's not going to get traded before June 1. So it's not going to happen anytime over the next 5 days. Yeah. Tough says grab him. I don't think it'd be a bad idea, Tough. I don't think it'd be a bad idea one bit whatsoever. All righty. Make sure you guys are getting those questions in. Jack, how are we sitting on questions right now? Could you use like 2 or 3 more? 3 or 4? Okay, we could use a little bit more questions. Make sure you guys get down in the comment section and ask them. They could be about Jalen Ramsey. They could be about this depth chart. They could be about the draft, about the schedule, about next season, about Lamar, about contracts, anything y'all want. Y'all can ask right down below. Just make sure you use hashtag Ravens to do it. New viewers, this is for you guys. Is this y'all's first time watching us? Welcome. So happy you're here. If you guys want a chance to get on the show and your first time watching, get down in the comment section if you got a question. Use hashtag Ravens, or you can super chat the $ right next to the chat box. That guarantees your spot on today's show. Juan says trade. Tough says grab them. Brand says if they need a trade for a corner, let it be a young corner. That's the thing about young corners, though, Brandon. People aren't trading them, man. They just don't want to let go of those young corners, which I get, man. We're not going to want to let go of Nate Wiggins, I have a feeling. Jack, great question. Purple Pill, ask that again, except use hashtag you missed the S. Use hashtag Ravens, Purple Pill. Not Raven. Hashtag Ravens with an S. What a great question. You did miss the S, but I would love to answer it, so just copy and paste that. Ask that again. Power rank the 5 free agent. Ooh, good question, Jack. We'll get to that. I hope we have a graphic for that when we get to it, but I think we might. But great question, man. Jameer, hashtag Ravens. Should the Ravens wait for Jair in the future or trade for Ramsey now? Great question, Jameer. I like that, my friend. You like that? I like that. Hope everybody enjoyed yesterday, the Monday off. Obviously, it's not just about getting a Monday off. It's about remembering all of those who died serving this country. But hope you guys got some rest. Hope you guys got a little bit of extra sleep. It was a very beautiful day in Dallas, Texas yesterday. It was like 72 degrees, and beautiful is a relative term. It was raining. But beautiful in Dallas, if it's 70 in May, that's pretty beautiful. Took the dog on a walk, went and go saw a movie with my wife, hung out, got kind of reset, got to sleep in. It's a great day. It was a great day. Juan, great question. Ask it again. Use hashtag Ravens with an S. Ravens with an S, my friend. On the screen. You can't just say Raven. Hashtag Ravens. They're not the Baltimore Raven. Mog says, I'm good with getting Ramsey and trying out Braid while letting Ham roam early on in the season. Yeah, I would be too. Hashtag Ravens Sticky Slick Billy. Will the Ravens run a triple screen with Mitchell, Wester, and Flowers? That'd be pretty sick, my friend. All right, I feel like we're good to go, Jack. We've got a good bit that are still coming in. Y'all keep asking. Once we get started, doesn't mean y'all got to be done. Keep asking those questions. We'll keep getting them in the mailbag. And we're about to get started on today's show. There should be no reason the Ravens shouldn't have more than 4 losses this year. Ravens peak should be 15-2. Floor should be 13-4. No reason they shouldn't be 12-5 or 11-6. 13-4 sounds realistic. 12-5, I wouldn't be mad about either. It's hard to win 12 games in the National Football League. Alrighty, Jack, we ready to roll? Sweet. Live mailbag coming to you guys right now. You are clicking into our live Ravens mailbag. So glad that you guys have joined us. We took all these questions during a live show on Tuesday. They're from you guys, the flock, okay? Your questions, my answers, my favorite segment every single week. And let's get into it. Before we do that, though, I want to get the pulse from the fan base. Okay, we had some discussions here at the office. Were you a Ravens fan before Lamar Jackson? No shame if you weren't, okay? I know we got a lot of young people that watch this show, a lot of people who weren't really competent of football that much during or before Lamar Jackson was here. But if you're a Ravens fan before Lamar Jackson was QB1, do me one big favor and show me by liking today's video. We start off with Darius Williams for our first question. Hashtag Ravens, do you think we need more wide receiver depth? There's a difference between wants and needs, Darius. I would want more wide receiver depth. I don't need more wide receiver depth. I think with DeAndre Hopkins, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers being your starting 3 wide receivers, that's a really good group. And then, having a guy like LaJohntay Wester, the rookie out of Colorado, backing him up, Tylan Wallace, possibly Devontae Walker. Sure, you could add a better vet in there, but I think there's other positions on this team that need more depth in the wide receiver room. I'm talking linebackers. I'm talking interior defensive line. Sure, I would take some more wide receiver depth, but I don't think it's a need at this point in the offseason. Purple Pill Corey, 20, says, my bad, bro. Would you rather have Braid or Kane? Hashtag Ravens. So we're talking about the safeties here with the Ardarius Washington injury. Who would I rather have kind of replace Ardarius Washington? I think Bo Braid. We didn't get to see a ton of Sanusi Kane in the preseason last year because he was injured. We didn't get to really see either of these guys that much in the regular season at all. But from what I saw from Bo Braid in the preseason, he's a guy that plays every single snap with his hair on fire. He has no regard for his body. He hits guys hard. He's not scared of contact. He could be a little bit better in coverage, but I think that's just going to come from him being in this league longer. So I would take Braid over Kane. Kimberly Harmon is next. Say, hashtag Ravens, which wide receivers will score their first touchdown in the regular season? I think what you're asking is who's going to score maybe the first touchdown? Yeah, that probably makes more sense than their first touchdown. Who's going to score? Which wide receiver is going to score the first touchdown? Give me Rashad Bateman. Deep shot against the Bills. I like Rashad Bateman a lot. I'm really excited for him in 2025. I think he could be this team's wide receiver 1. We saw how great of a deep threat he was in 2024. Bills secondary still isn't that great. Sure, they added in Maxwell Harrison in the draft, but give me a deep shot. Rashad Bateman, second drive of the game, 6. Sticky Slick Billy next, saying hashtag Ravens. The Ravens run a triple screen with Mitchell, Wester, and Flowers. So a triple screen as in screen and then pass again, screen, and then pass again and screen? Is that what you're talking about? Are you talking triple option, do you think, Jack? Yeah, out of the Wildcat triple option, I don't think they'll run triple screen. I don't think they'll run triple option either. But if they did run either of those with those 3 players, I would be all there for it. I mean, those are 3 small guys, but they're incredibly fast, incredibly shifty. If we got into the Wildcat and it was Zay Flowers as the quarterback, and then Mitchell's the first read, and then Wester is kind of the pitch back, the halfback, turn me up, man. Todd Monken gets fun. He gets creative. I'd love to see that in 2025. Up next, we got Stevie's Wonder. Jack, you think Stevie Wonder can see? Jack says he doesn't know. Well, I've heard rumors on the internet. Now, I know you shouldn't believe every rumor you hear on the internet. I don't think he can see, but some people do. Anyway, back to his question. Should hashtag Ravens trade for Tyreek Hill? No, I don't think so. This kind of goes back to the wide receiver depth. There's a lot higher needs position-wise on this roster than wide receiver. And I just feel like this team's culture is just rock solid right now, at least in the locker room. You got rid of Eddie Jackson. You got rid of Deontay Johnson. It was obvious those 2 guys didn't work with this team's culture. Those were selfish, me-first guys. Tyreek Hill is a little bit in that same ilk. it just comes a lot of distractions with him. And also, you'd have to give up a lot to get him, and you have to pay him a lot of money once he's here. So kind of all those three things weaved with each other combined, I'm going to say no. What say you guys, though? Should the Ravens trade for Tyreek Hill? If you think they should, give me a yes in the comments section down below. And if you think they shouldn't, give me a no, but tell me why. Let me know your answers right now. Jameer Castro is up next. Hashtag Ravens. What position should the Ravens add to the most and who? I think I'm going to give you three. I'm going to give you linebacker, C.J. Mosley. I think that's a name to look at. Veteran, played football with Zach Orr, so they have that connection, has been with the Ravens before. I would love the addition of that. I think they should add a safety. I would love Justin Simmons. I wouldn't mind Julian Blackmon either, or Jordan Whitehead. And then edge rusher, I would not be mad about Jadeveon Clowney. Wouldn't be mad about Von Miller. Wouldn't be mad about Matt Judon. Okay? Those are three positions, 2 or 3 names each for you, Jameer. Up next, we got Moggs. Hashtag Ravens, what would be better for our defense? Sign a safety and let Hamilton roam as a Swiss Army knife, or sign a cornerback to lock things up down underneath and keep Ham up top? Wonderful question. I said this when he asked it, and I saw it in the chat. I said this is the best question I think I may have ever been asked on this show. I think it'd be better to sign a safety and let Hamilton roam, because that's exactly what adding Ardarius Washington into this lineup kind of let you do last year. And I guess, not necessarily. I think that was the biggest, that's why they drafted Malachi Starks with Ardarius Washington. So that way Kyle Hamilton could do that. That was the plan this offseason, was to let Kyle Hamilton roam. So I think that's probably where I'd lead. I also just think there's better safety options than there are cornerback. Now, if they want to add a corner, I'm not going to be mad about it. If they want to add a safety, I'm not going to be mad about it either. If they add both, I'm not going to be upset. So I think it's the best of both worlds. I think keeping Ham up top is great. I also think letting him roam is really useful as well. Adam78 is up next. If Baltimore can't afford to extend Hamilton, Linderbaum, or Likely, then they are trading for Ramsey, 3-year, $50+ million contract. Adam, I hear what you're saying. The thing is, they can afford extending those people. But because they can afford it, it probably means they're not going to get Ramsey on that 3-year, $50+ million contract. But they can afford Hamilton, Linderbaum, and Likely, especially the way that contracts are kind of, done right now, where very backloaded, lower cap hits, more bonuses. They can maneuver it into a way where they can pay those guys, and they will pay those guys to keep them on the roster. Speaking of roster, how's the closet looking right now, okay? Is it a little bit dry? You need a little bit of an upgrade. If you do, go to chatsports.com/white polo. You can get this white Ravens polo old school logo 32% off. It was $50. Now it is only $34. And this offer will not last for long. All sizes, anything you can need, from small to XXX. Chatsports.com/Ravens polo. Again, only chatsports.com/white polo. Only $34. Great for Father's Day. Great for birthdays. If you guys want to hold on to it and give it to somebody for Christmas, I would totally understand that as well. Jump on this deal as quickly as you can. Support us, support Fanatics, support the Baltimore Ravens. That link's in the comments and description of today's video. Jack Laterret is up next, saying hashtag Ravens. Power rank the 5 free agents in 2026 from most likely to re-sign to least likely to re-sign. Great question, Jack. Here are the 5 biggest free agents, in my opinion, and you could throw Odafe Owe in there. I'm not going to as of right now, but you could. Okay, I'm not going to be mad if you do. Most likely to re-sign, it goes like this. Isaiah Likely, Travis Jones, Ardarius Washington, Kyle Van Noy, and Mark Andrews. Okay? And it's yeah, that's how it goes. It's almost basically going by age, almost. It feels a little bit mean to do it that way, but that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. I think this is Mark Andrews' final year as a Baltimore Raven. I think they choose to sign Isaiah Likely over him. I think they choose to go younger. Kyle Van Noy, I don't know if he's going to get re-signed unless he has a monster season. He's getting really, really up there. Ardarius Washington is a big question mark with that Achilles. So I think the only 2 locks on this list are Isaiah Likely and Travis Jones. Next up, Jameer Castro. Should the Ravens wait for Jair in the future or trade for Ramsey now? Jair is all but a Packer. A report came out on Tuesday that the Packers have offered a restructured contract to him. Now, Jair hasn't signed it yet, but he also said he was going to be at their mandatory minicamp whether he had a contract or not, like whether he had a new contract or not. And so Jair Alexander will be staying in Green Bay, so I don't think you should wait for him. If you want to go and you feel like this is the year, compete for a Super Bowl, go trade Ramsey now. But I think they could just sign a free agent safety for a little bit cheaper, and I think they'd be just fine, Jameer. Brandon86, #Ravens, will you trade away for Sauce Gardner? Not South Gardner, but I get what you're saying, Brandon86. Would I trade for Sauce Gardner? Depends what I would have to give up. Probably a lot, and then you'd probably have to pay him a lot as well. Oh, would you trade Oweh? I get what you're saying. O-W-E-H. Would I trade Oweh for Sauce Gardner? Yeah, I would. Because I don't know if they're going to pay Oweh next season when he's a free agent. And sure, I think he's good. Obviously, he is. He got 10.5 sacks last year. Like, that's nothing to just, like, scoff at and forget about. But Sauce Gardner is in a league of his own, and he's incredibly young as well. I would make that trade. I would. Great question, Brandon. Sorry for the misunderstanding. Next up is Jack Harbaugh. What's going on, Papa Harbs? Who's the secret to the Ravens offense in 2025? I think Roger Rosengarten might be. I know that's not a flashy selection, but he played so phenomenal at right tackle at the end of last season. He locked down TJ Watt. He locked down Myles Garrett. He was so reliable for the entirety of the year after he got that starting spot. And so I would say Roger Rosengarten. You know, why not go right tackle? It's a massive position in the sport. Both the tackles positions are. I think another key one is not necessarily a player, but Ronnie Stanley's health. I'll go offensive line there as well. I want you guys, though, name them for me in the comments. Who do you think the secret to the Ravens offense is in 2025? I gave you 2 answers. You give me one right now. And while you're down there, big red sub button. You can't miss it. Make sure you guys hit it. Join us today. It's 100% free. Just locks us in for the rest of eternity. Daily videos right here on the Ravens Rundown by yours truly. We'll see you next time. All righty. 3 segments up, 3 segments down. We got 3, items I asked you guys. Which would you rather? Ravens trade for Jalen Ramsey, sign Justin Simmons, none of the above. 55% came in to trade for Ramsey. 34% came in to sign Justin Simmons. 12% came for none of the above. Jack, of those, which would you rather? Of those 3?
Simmons.
Simmons, yeah. I just think signing for Simmons is less risk. Maybe not more reward, but similar enough reward to warrant the less risk. He's been getting burnt by wide receivers, and he allowed a touchdown, right? Are we talking about Sauce Gardner? Sauce is good. Yeah, Sauce is good. And he's young. Yeah, he had a little bit of a step back last year, but he's still really good. Yamel says Andrews is a distraction on the team. He'll fall flat again in the postseason if the Ravens lean on him again. Hope I'm wrong, though. Yeah, I don't think he's a distraction. I'll say that. I think you could say what you want about his game against the Bills. Obviously, you could point to him as the reason for the loss with the fumble and the dropped extra point. But I don't think he's a distraction. I think that goes a little bit far. All righty. 1 like away from 50. Who's going to get us there? Who is going to get us there? James says, I think a lot of the time our problem is as a team we chase big names that are past their prime. Why not develop what we have? James, you're not wrong. But I feel like developing what we have kind of is the name of the Ravens game. Like, they don't necessarily chase big names that are past their prime. Like, Odell Beckham Jr. and, like, Houston and those kind of guys. I don't want to say they fall in their laps, but, like, they never really overpay. Like DeAndre Hopkins, they didn't overpay for him. They typically kind of just wait and let their good players develop. Make sure you guys like today's video. We're 1 like away from getting 50, and I need one of you guys, one loyal member, one loyal fan of the Baltimore Ravens to like it. There we go. We got 50 likes for producer Jack. I'm your man, Joey Petersen. We'll see you next time. God bless.